The true antidote to complaining is not to just complain more, is not to do more research online to figure out your justifications for why this or that person should be doing this or that. But the true antidote Are you someone who complains perhaps a little bit too much? Maybe you're looking for a way to try to overcome this temptation to always complain about things going around in the world around you, right? If that's the case, you've found the perfect video. Welcome back, by the way, to this YouTube channel. My name is Father Sam. I'm a priest with the Brothers of St. John, and today we're going to be diving into our Sunday Gospel, which I truly believe can help us overcome this temptation to complain. But before we get into the reflection, I wanted to tell you that if you want a more full version of this reflection, especially with the Gospel readings, where I actually read the Gospel for today, go ahead and download the Hallow App. It's a free app. It's a great prayer app that I use all the time, and my daily reflections called Living the Gospel are on the Hallow App. So every day you can have a reflection by Father Sam of the daily Gospel, so we'll see you there on the Hallow App. But okay, in order to get into this topic of complaining, I wanted to tell you something about my own life. So I'm, like I said, a religious priest, so we're the Brothers of St. John, and I've been living here in Cebu City in the Philippines for the last, actually a total of 6 years, so it's really fun to live here. I enjoy being a missionary, and right now I'm assigned in the middle of the city, and I'm assigned with another brother and another priest in our community in a house which is unfortunately a little bit too big for only 3 brothers. It's kind of made to be a house for at least 5 or 6 brothers, and because of that, the 3 of us, we have lots of house cleaning to do, okay? What's also interesting about our house is so like I said, in the heart of the city, there is a dusty, dirty, busy road behind our house and another dusty, busy, dirty road in front of our house. So there's a lot of dust in our house, and it's almost like every time you mop the floor, the next day it's dirty again. It's just so tiring, like, oh my gosh, I just cleaned this place. Well, you can start complaining, right? But there's one job which we don't actually assign to a certain brother. Usually we have our own kind of designated house cleaning areas, right? Like mine is the 2 staircases and the library, and then another brother is cleaning the CR or the bathrooms and the hallways. And anyway, we don't assign taking out the trash to a specific brother. It's not under his responsibility because we figured if a brother sees that the trash is full, he'll just take out the trash, and that's how it's going to work. So we kind of left it up to the goodwill of the brothers. And in order for this to work, there has to be the right mindset. Because just imagine, if all 3 of us, all the time, we said, well, taking out the trash is not my job, so I'm not going to do it. It's someone else's job. It's not my job. And then when the trash gets fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller, we say, oh, but they're not doing their job. Why are they expecting me to do this? I already have so much to do, you see? And this kind of complaining and this bitterness starts to set in. Why am I telling you this story? It's because I believe that a lot of us, when we complain, it's usually about people not doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? Just think about what we see on social media these days. We see, our political leaders, our church leaders, our government officials, priests, bishops, people who are in leadership positions, they're not doing their job. They're not caring for the people that they're supposed to be caring for. They're not solving our problems and this kind of thing. And we complain. And then when we complain more and more and more, our hearts become bitter because we're thinking that, why would they be expecting me to do something? Because it's their job. And then that makes it even more difficult for us to stop complaining and to help others. Okay, so this is where the power of our Sunday Gospel comes in. For those of you who read our Sunday Gospel already, it is actually the story of the Good Samaritan. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to read the whole story to you. You can go to the Hallow App to hear the story, but probably you already know it, right? It's where there's this guy who was robbed and he's on the side of the road. The gospel says that he's like half dead. He's in a miserable situation. And there's different people who walk right by him. People who we would think would help the poor man. The first one, and this really is always like, oh my gosh, it's so hurtful to read this gospel. is the first guy is a priest. Especially here in the Philippines, a priest is someone who should have compassion on people, right? For example, there's a lot of beggars who come to our house asking for food and everything. And usually what they'll say to kind of, I don't know if it's kind of gaslighting or something, but to get us to give them food is they say, they know I'm a priest and they say, oh, but priests are merciful, right? Priests are merciful, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, fine. A priest is someone who normally would help people, but the priest walks by him. And then there's another guy, I think it's a Levite. Anyway, it's another person in a position of authority, goes by the guy, you'd think he'd help him, doesn't help him. Then there's a third guy who's a Samaritan. Okay, Samaritan is like an enemy, and he's the guy who helps the man who was robbed. The guy that we would least expect to help is the one who helps. And the reason why he helps, okay, this is really interesting. The reason why the difference between the Samaritan and these other guys who we would think would help is that the Samaritan was moved with compassion. The Samaritan is someone who sees that man and is not only seeing him as a duty, but as a person. And he lets his heart be touched by that person. And that's why he helps the person. This is a really powerful story because I think it shows us that the true antidote, the true medicine to complaining is not to just complain more. It's not to do more research online to figure out your justifications for why this or that person should be doing this or that. But the true antidote is to have compassion, is to let your heart become like Jesus's heart, you know? For example, even me, myself, when I work here, I have lots of missions to do. I'm a full-time youth minister, basically a full-time social media influencer also. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm here on YouTube. You can follow me also in Cebuano on TikTok and Facebook and on Hallow. I have lots of stuff to do for social media, for youth ministry, and just a whole bunch more stuff like house cleaning, like I told you. And it is so easy to complain. It is so easy to complain about how much work we have to do and how people aren't helping me and how I wish I could delegate more. And it's true, very often I fall into that trap. But what I notice is that the way out of that is, of course, to rest, is to work efficiently and, find different ways to work better, but is most especially to be like, okay, who am I touching in my work? Who do I have the grace to reach out to today? Who can I be compassionate to? Who needs my help? Because actually, when we do that, we become more successful. I don't know if you've noticed this, but when we respond to people's needs, when we allow ourselves to be touched by other people's lives and their needs, that's when people actually start to like us. Isn't that cool? In today's world, there is such a toxic culture of the mindset of like someone else will do it. But that's precisely where the power of following Jesus, where the power of this gospel can truly help us to change the world. I wanted to tell you that if it doesn't start with you, you will never start. Don't wait around for someone to do something. If you are in your parish and you're complaining about your parish priest, because that happens very often, if you are, living in a neighborhood, living in a village, and your mayor is not doing anything, if you feel like the church authorities today in general are not doing their job, if you're upset with different presidents, don't just wait around and complain because that's just going to make your life miserable. Okay, think of what you can do today, the positive influence that you can have on others, and do it through looking at your brothers and sisters around you, your brothers and sisters in faith, your loved ones, your classmates, your workmates, and try to think, what can I do today to help respond to their needs? That is the best medicine against falling into the temptation of always complaining. So if you are a complainer, try that today. I promise it will make your life more happy and easier. So thank you once again so much for listening to this video. You guys are just the best. If you're still listening, I am so touched. Don't hesitate to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell for notifications, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.